looks awful. I don't know why it's a Mexican artist, not a British artist. And I don't know why we have to have the faces of trans, non-binary and gender non-conforming people on the fourth plinth of Trafalgar Square next to Nelson's column, someone who actually, you know, fought for our country to stay free. Where are you on this, Amy?
No, I completely agree. I think this is by far the worst thing that's ever been on that plinth. And that's saying something. Yeah, it is. Given the nonsense that's been on there, I almost feel nostalgia for the giant farm or the giant chicken or all the things that have been on there. Because the first thing about this, as you say, is how awful it looks. It just looks like a load of grey egg cartons all on top of each other. The actual plinth itself is more aesthetically pleasing to look at than this artwork. So there's that. And then, as you said, it's the theme of this thing. It was inspired by the murder of a trans woman, so a male sex worker. So it's about transgender and non-binary, which isn't a thing, sex workers. Now, I don't think, as you say, this is a public square. This is at the heart of London, the centre of Leicester Square. I don't think artwork... Trafalgar Square. I don't think artwork about sex work or sex workers or sexual exploitation is really that appropriate for something that families will be looking at, particularly children. I'm not saying it's not a serious issue. I'm not saying art shouldn't be made about it, but this is the centre of London. And also, if we are going to make art about sexual exploitation, over 90% of people in the sex industry or prostitutes are women. Over 90% of people who experience sexual exploitation or sexual assault or sexual abuse are women. So it's taken an issue that affects women and made it all about, once again, men and transgenderism. And that's the issue.
That's absolutely. But also, it's about the trans workers in Mexico. Well, put it up in a Plaza Revolution or something in Mexico then. I don't understand on any basis. You know, people can have different views on art. And there'll be people who say, oh, this artwork has done its job. You have to talk like this when you do this. This artwork has done its job because we're talking about it and it's evoked strong reactions. But my strong reaction, I can live with it being a not particularly aesthetically pleasing piece of art. We don't have to all agree on the same art. It's the time and the place. It's the context. There are, you know, this is as you say, this is a national square. This is where we have major events, you know, screening Euros, whatever. This is a square. It's very obvious what needs to go on this plinth. Everyone knows. I'm not even a monarchist. It's quite clear that this is the plinth that should be there for the Queen, the late Queen. It's very obvious. That's what most of the British people would want, and that's why they won't put it there, because that would be, I don't know, colonialist or something. I just, every single aspect of this artwork is wrong. The context of it, the message it's trying, the choice of it, an artist from another country. I mean, are there literally no British artists left who don't need to have their art displayed, Amy?
It's right. I mean, transgenderism affects, whatever you want to call it, affects less than 1% of the population. This artwork is about transgender sex workers, mostly whom are Mexican. I suspect there's not a single person in London for whom that applies. So you've got an artwork that literally nobody can relate to, and it offends so many people. We have a growing number of people in this country who are what people call detransitioners, who have been extremely affected by transgender ideology, have had their bodies destroyed. We have a lot of gay people who find gender identity and transgenderism extremely homophobic. A lot of women are offended by it. So it's extremely divisive. And as you say, this plinth was supposed to be put aside for a statue of the Queen after she passed away. And actually, Sadiq Khan is now extending it to keep putting on these contemporary...
But he knows it bothers people like you and me, and then he can shout transphobia at us. One of the things that was said about this piece of work, that it's about, basically addressing, the needs of a marginalised community that, marginalised. Trans people are marginalised. Oh my God, I can think of no group of people who are talked about and promoted more in everyday life, in every public sector, in the NHS, in schools, in every single office. They talk about it obsessively in this office as well. This is a tiny number of people. I have no issue with trans people. Non-binary, I agree with you. Not a thing. Non-conforming, having blue hair and wearing daft clothes doesn't make you special. It just makes you have blue hair and daft clothes. And I don't care as long as you're appropriate attire for the office. That's all I care about. But genuinely, this obsession with this stuff by the great and the good, it's just too much now. We're done. The rainbow lanyards, the old trans ally, we're all done with it. The vast majority of people in this country have nothing but kindness and respect for anyone, whatever their sexuality, whatever their identity. We don't care. We're not interested. Are you a nice person? Can you do your job or not? That's all we care about. But this non-stop obsession with this by the great and the good, by the likes of the Sadiq Khans and others, I mean, it's weird. It's getting weird now, don't you think? It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, this is the great contradiction of most modern art now, in that it professes to be non-conformist and dissident and rebellious. And actually, it's completely in line with the agenda and the orthodoxy of all the institutions. There's nothing rebellious about this. In fact, having a statue of a woman with an adult human female T-shirt on would have been a lot more rebellious and a lot more interesting.
Oh, probably illegal, though. Probably, well, definitely at the very least a, non-crime hate incident. But you know what? Let's make sure that that's what goes on there next. Maybe we should dress this artwork in. I've got a couple of those T-shirts, got a hoodie. I've got lots of them, very proudly wear them. They don't like it at Labour conference so much, but, they go down well anywhere else. Amy, you are a voice of reason, a voice of sanity. Amy Gallagher, commentator.